They lost.
They did lose, but that was a bad team win. I think what more than anything I've learned from Missouri was from that game. They had a lead, but they could not pull it out, and they couldn't finish. What Auburn did last week was magic, and I think Auburn's going to use that magic, that Iron Bowl spark, to beat a Missouri team that has shocked everybody, but this Auburn team will shock everybody a little bit more. Auburn is a team that didn't win against Washington State at home by that much, by a touchdown. Washington State, a mediocre, at best, Pac-12 team. This is a very interesting team, Auburn, but they have improved so much over this year. I think this is a game where the Auburn Tigers are going to beat the Missouri Tigers.
Let me tell you something about the Auburn Tigers. That win provides such a boost to the morale of this team. They've got to come into this game feeling unstoppable, believing that they are unstoppable. It's right there. The finish line is right there. Now, I'm not one that's completely ready to count Missouri out.
By no means am I either.
Missouri has played Alabama. They haven't played the top tier of the SEC. I am not taking any credit away from Missouri at all. What Missouri has done has been completely impressive, to say the absolute least. But what Auburn is doing right now, the momentum they have had, you know what they are, Carl?
What are they, Jake?
You know what they are?
What are they, Jake?
Can you guess what they are, Carl?
They are awesome. I don't know, Jake. You get to pick this one.
Hello, Carl?
Just tell me what they are.
Carl?
Yes, Jake. No! You're a terrible person, Jake.
Auburn is a giant wrecking ball right now, and they are going to ride Missouri to the finish line like an oversized wrecking ball. Hopefully they'll do it wearing more clothes, though, and with a lot more dignity. Guys, Auburn's got to be feeling unstoppable now. They're going to win this game.
Well, we now know that Jake Liker loves Miley Cyrus.
No, I said no. Just because I used her for a fantastic reference that we all enjoyed and was maybe a highlight of this show does not mean that I like her. I'll give you a highlight of the show, though, when I bring up names like Deshaunta Brofton, quarterback from Jonesboro, Georgia, sophomore.
Jake, you are, in a word, ridiculous.
You know what else is ridiculous? Naming your child Dontarius Harris, Santavius Odin, or Montavious Skelton.
Jake, the king of selfless promoting. Alright, I want to note something about our future shows. So, I obviously, live in Oregon and Jake lives in LA, and that's like 12 hours apart. It's a while. But, this holiday season, you guys are all getting a great gift. As me and Jake will be together to do a live show together during this holiday season.
Yes, the Jewish kid is going to give you guys a Christmas present because I can and I accept all cultures. You know what? Happy holidays, Merry Kwanzaa to you. Carl comes down here to Los Angeles. We are going to have a blast, and we're going to have a great show. Stokes.
I would like to quickly apologize. The internet connection here is not perfect, and Jake is not coming through as clear as I would love him to. Let's move on to a very interesting part of this show. We're going to talk about all the BCS Bowls and the teams, how they project into them. Starting off with the National Championship game, the game to win them all. Jake, everybody knows how this game is setting up now, after all this, to be Ohio State, Florida State. Tell us the significance of the SEC not having a team in this.
It is significant. It is as notable as the name Trey Perrier.
Okay, stop self-promoting.
That was the last one, but I had to bring in the best one, Trey Perrier. But this is huge. The SEC doesn't put someone in there, and it's not because they're not as good. It's because the dynasties are over. The reason I picked Ohio State and whoever won the ACC, at the beginning of the year I said Ohio State Clemson. As soon as Clemson lost, I picked Florida State.
It's true. I should say that Jake has hit this on the nose for a very long time.
Thank you. The Big Ten was not strong enough. Ohio State was just head and shoulders above the rest of that conference. Florida State was just head and shoulders above the rest of their conference. Auburn, the SEC is so competitive that it was just too difficult. It would have probably been more difficult to go undefeated in the SEC than it would have been to win the national championship.
And I think it's I mean, not exactly the same with the Pac-12, but you look at the Pac-12 teams, they beat each other. I mean, it's the SEC and the Pac-12 both they're deeper conferences than these other conferences where it's a lot easier to go through undefeated.
I'm going to disagree here with the Pac because the Pac-12, this hasn't been that they're all just so amazing and they're bound to beat each other. It's the really good teams are having off days more often in the Pac-12. In the SEC, it's just powerhouse matchup after powerhouse matchup, and you're not going to have the same team win every time.
But I think also you got to look at the hype though. These other teams, they may be as good as them, but that's the thing. There's teams that are as good as Pac-12 teams, as good as the SEC. They're just not getting quite the hype. Personally, like teams like South Carolina, I do not think they're all that. I don't think they're a top 15 team even. They're 15 in my book. South Carolina should not make. South Carolina.
Listen, when you're in the SEC, you don't like any stuff. I don't like that the SEC has formed a dynasty, but the SEC has formed an upper class of college football. The Auburn, Alabama might just be a more competitive game than Florida State and Ohio State.
That could be very true. Also,
because
yes, Jake.
It's simply because you have these powerhouse matchups. The Pac-12 does not compare. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying, Jake, what I was saying, if you were actually listening, because obviously you were stuck in your own head, was that the Pac-12 ends up beating its own teams. These are teams that are not losing to out of conference. They're because there's a certain level of team. Like, they're not. The other teams were head and shoulders above. Oregon and Stanford this year were not head and shoulders above the rest of their conference. And neither was any of the teams in the SEC. So I think that's what you're looking at. I'm saying conference depth is there.
Yes, there is depth there.
That's what I was trying to make a point of. You could have actually listened. Alright, next in line for this game.
I don't need your sass, Carl. Neither I nor Lefarius Hoskins.
And now you broke your own rule. Alright, Auburn is likely to... Auburn or Missouri, the winner of that game is likely to slip in to this game. Other than that, Alabama and Oklahoma State both have chances of making this game, with some very, very large situations happening. We could get our Iron Bowl 2, we could get Oklahoma State versus Auburn in this game, or even a very off chance, Oklahoma State could play Missouri in this game. That would be a weird national championship game. Alright, now we move into, this could be one of the hardest games to call all bowl season on one side of this, the Orange Bowl. This is a game, it's supposed to be ACC versus at-large, but the thing is, ACC should have Florida State up in that plot in the national championship game. So the ACC is not, if Florida State wins that game, they go there, then it's a question of who do they pick. If Florida State or Duke wins, if Duke wins that game, they go to here. So that's another thing to look at. Here's the deal with this game. Currently projected by ESPN's Brad Edwards, this is Clemson versus Alabama. Alabama, I would be shocked if they do not make this game. But here's the thing. Oregon versus Clemson. It's going to be very interesting to see whether the people who are picking the Orange Bowl take Oregon or Clemson. Because, as the nation knows, everybody wants to see Oregon versus Alabama. Am I right, Jake?
You are right, Carl, but you are also missing that Oregon, Clemson, have not shown up what they've needed to. There are certain things that they need to do, and they haven't.
No, I'm not saying they have. I'm just saying those
done.
are the two teams that will most likely make this game.
I disagree. I think if UCF and Northern Illinois get into the BCS before...
No, Northern Illinois is going to another bowl because the Orange Bowl is picking first.
The Orange Bowl is picking first?
Orange Bowl has first pick this year.
Can you confirm that for me?
I can come close. Let me look around, but that was definitely what I was...
Bowl selection process.
Alright, that was what I was getting before. I believe.
I thought Orange Bowl was getting last, and they were predicting.
No, because Alabama, that's their first pick. Alabama's their first pick.
Oh, maybe I'm mixing up with the Fiesta Bowl.
Orange Bowl gets the first pick. They take Alabama. Then I believe they get the last pick. So they get first and last, and that's why Oregon and Clemson are battling it out. Oh no, maybe it's not. Maybe it is double first, and they want. Ooh, this is a weird one. All right, then we move to the Sugar Bowl. As Jake tries to figure that out, you have Auburn projected versus UCF. UCF needs to make a BCS bowl. We don't exactly care where. If Auburn or Missouri wins that game and is not in the national championship game, they will go to this game. It is an SEC spot, so therefore it will be filled by the SEC champion if they're not in another situation. I see Auburn in this game. Actually, no, I don't see Auburn in this game. Excuse me. I honestly could see Alabama slipping in here as well. This is a weird one, especially if either the teams that are projected in the national championship game lose. All sorts of random stuff can happen. But Missouri, Auburn, or Alabama will likely make this game. Then you look for the other spot. You have UCF coming in here. Other than that, it depends how they pick. But here's the thing with this. It's a hard game to pick. I like their picks right now if the other teams hold, but Baylor could get the nod in this one over UCF. It's hard to say. Alright, moving on to the Fiesta Bowl. Our favorite party bowl. Oklahoma State, if they win that Big 12 game, they make it to this game. That's a fact. If Northern Illinois wins, basically, Northern Illinois is in a very interesting situation, but this is the last pick, and nobody wants the non-AQ team. They don't draw ratings. So it looks to be Northern Illinois versus Oklahoma State is a pretty good conclusion right now. But Baylor could slip in there as well, and UCF could make it in if Northern Illinois loses. It all depends. Nobody wants non-IQ teams, then nobody wants American Athletic Conference teams. It's weird. Now we move to the granddaddy of them all.
Wait, hold on. I can give you a confirmation.
Yes, thank you. Confirmation, Jake.
Alright. The selection goes as follows. Orange Bowl.
Alright, so I was right on that.
Sugar Bowl.
Yes.
Fiesta Bowl.
Okay.
Alright, so here's the thing. We're basically saying that Auburn's going to the Sugar Bowl. Oklahoma State.
No, not Auburn. Why would Auburn go to the Sugar Bowl?
Because they.
Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry, Auburn does go to the Sugar Bowl automatically.
You're not saying that because you're saying Michigan State's gonna win.
Yeah, but that screws with all the bowl predictions.
So we'll say Auburn goes to the Sugar Bowl, Oklahoma State goes to the Fiesta Bowl, Alabama goes to the Orange Bowl.
Those are basically automatic because nobody's gonna pass over Alabama as the first team they pick.
Or the Orange Bowl would never pass over Alabama.
No way, especially not in the region they're in.
Correct.
They're playing that game in Florida. They would draw so many Alabama fans. Not even funny.
So that leaves UCF, Northern Illinois, and
A bunch
well,
of
considering